Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. Good morning, everybody. Stream. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the stream. Welcome, everybody. We're live. We are live. I'll wait for the stream to kick in. Good morning. Today is April 5th in the year 2023. Do you know where your favorite president is? And we're live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. How you doing, everybody? Mark Conti reporting. Whoa, wow, holy smokes. We waited. We wanted to see what the election interference was going to look like in 2024. And now it looks like we know. See, it's not election rigging. This is not cheating or anything like that. Weaponizing the criminal justice system against a former president who has many victories in politics as a 45th American president is being slowed down and kneecapped over there in New York for sure by a gentleman named Alvin Bragg. So this appears to be what's happening. This is the Democratic strategy to stop Trump. And you could already see the ramification. You have, in New York, you have 34 felony indictments for very, very vague, almost unexplained crimes that Trump has committed. And I'll give you an example. If you recall back in 2019, when Bernie Sanders was running for president and the indictment of Donald Trump began. And what happened in that indictment to Donald Trump? It wasn't to get an indictment, not an indictment, but a impeachment. Let me start over. I wanted to make the parallel between the impeachment of Donald Trump and silencing Bernie Sanders. Now, you remember when the campaign for the 2020 presidential election was happening, when it was still a primary, a Democratic primary? Bernie Sanders was way out ahead. Elizabeth Warren was light years ahead. Right? Why? Because they were out there campaigning every day. And then what happened? The Democrats all coalesced around going after Trump, getting Trump impeached. And you remember how they had Bernie Sanders sitting in that pew listening to garbage, one piece of garbage after another, that they were going to impeach Trump and get him kicked out of office? It caused Bernie to have to sit on his hands in Senate and appease the Democrats, right? So I always viewed the Trump impeachment as election interference to get Bernie to quiet down. Because once Bernie was off the campaign trail, they just kind of snuck Biden in there. And Biden became the Democratic nominee because the money wanted it that way. Now, how are they going to use this trial in New York against Trump? Well, they'll use it exactly the same way. Whenever Trump is rallying one city after another, flying his big old plane from here to there to the other, Alvin Bragg is going to stand up and say, Your Honor, the convicted, the accused is out there furthering his business corruption, and he needs to be brought in front of the court to quiet him down, for an injunction of some sort to keep him off the campaign trail. So that's how this interference is going to work. Alvin Bragg is the interference in New York. And when Trump is gaining in popularity or gaining in physical momentum, they're going to try to slow him down by having him having him fly into New York to talk about criminal nothings over and over again. So they're going to, is it going to slow Trump down? It probably will. But again, Trump is very talented. Trump knows how to parlay it into something great. So it's unprecedented in American history. It's kind of mind-boggling how all these definitions within criminal justice have changed over the years. What is acceptable to prosecute? It's almost exclusively political prosecution at this level. They don't like Trump. Trump is the front runner against their party. The DA, or the Democratic attorney, for lack of a better term, in New York, has been assigned. He ran Alvin Bragg. I told you yesterday how it would go, that Trump would appear in court. Alvin Bragg would go out in front of the cameras and make his case, which we'll play the video. And then Trump would later respond. Trump didn't respond till late last night, like I don't know, 9 p.m. Back in Florida. But we have that as well. And it does appear that Trump is just brushing it off like it's no big deal. But we're in waters that are unnavigatable, really. Who is calling these shots? The Democrats are so powerful that they could manipulate some nobody DA in New York and Alvin Bragg, who ran on a platform of, I'll go after Trump for you. Right? Did he actually do that? Did Alvin Bragg run on a platform? I'm not going to say he won the election, because nobody really knows what goes on in New York in terms of who wins or loses an election. But was Alvin Bragg allowed to run and win in New York on a platform of, I will go after Donald Trump, just like Letitia James did, the DA before him? These are radicalized left, black extremist, racist, opinionated, climber type of people, that they don't care. They don't care. There is no truth. They just care about what makes me look good and what is good for my advancement. And that's precisely what a person like Alvin Bragg is. And evidence is what Trump may or may not have done in a business deal in an election cycle in 2016. Is it even worth discussing when New York is riddled with crime that they've never seen before? Looting, running into stores, filling up bags and running out with stuff, people being pushed in front of trains, dangerous type criminals that should be in mental hospitals are being released onto the street, causing more crime and violent crime. So that's who Alvin Bragg is. Is Alvin Bragg going after those people? No, he's not going after them at all. He's going after Trump because that's where the money is. Right? I think that's the way I'm framing it. I think a lot of people in America see that. So I don't really see how it hurts Trump's base. It definitely fuels Trump's base. The case also for the Democrats, it brings back the I hate Trump crowd, right? And that's how they snuck Biden in, because if all you're doing is hating on Trump because he's such a dangerous person, and you fail to realize that he was the sitting president for 4 years and navigated this country as good or better than any other president before him, you would, again, you would assume they're going to try to paint Trump to be the criminal and constantly, bring attention back to his alleged criminality, slowing down his momentum, AKA election interference, to slow him down. That's what's going on, in my view, so far. So here he is. This is Alvin Bragg, the first term district attorney in New York. He hasn't even been there a year or two, a year and a half, 2 years. And again, he ran on a platform of, I'm going to get Trump. And now he's got him. Now he's got his indictment, and the indictment is out, and it's very, very flimsy. There's nothing specific in it. 34 ongoing counts. We'll look at the indictment. I have that as well. Again, if you're watching this and you're assuming, oh, here's another right-wing conspiracy theorist, commentator supporting Trump supporter, MAGA extreme, you would be wrong. I'm a defender of the criminal justice system, and I'm for the fairness, in an election, and I see election interference. That's what I see, based on my really unbiased view. I support neither Trump nor Biden per se, and that's not the case. I feel like I have to defend myself to people who will come here and say, "Oh, you just all you see is Trump. You see you're polluted by the orange monster." Nah, it's not that at all. This is very real and black and white, right? That we have the prosecution of a sitting or former president who is the front runner for the presidency of the United States, is a candidate for the presidency of the United States. And the justice system from out of nowhere has assembled against this man to stop him. And you could speculate why, because Trump threatens their power, simply. Trump threatens their power in a real way. Why? Because he could win. Did Trump go after them? Did Trump go after his attackers one by one when he was president? Not really. He shined light on some of it, like James Comey, the FBI corruption, and Hillary Clinton corruption and such. But he never really lobbied once he was in. Well, I guess he did lobby. He lobbied to have James Comey locked up, but that's neither here nor there at this point. But this is Alvin Bragg. We're going to take a closer look at this guy so you know who he is and you know who he is not. I have a website, marcusconti.com. This is educational philosophical. This is not campaigning. This is not investigative journalism or any of those very, very old-fashioned terms that people used to call themselves, truthers and truth tellers. And I don't know anything about any of that. All I know is what I see. One individual, one awake individual looking out at the world, and this is how I see it. So that's what I report on. I don't work for anybody. I don't take orders from anybody. Nobody writes my stories. I just do my own thing. I feel like I'm defending myself today. Why, Conti? Why do you feel like you need to defend yourself? So every morning at 9 a.m. we're live. Last night we were 7 p.m. We were at the Dharma gathering. Did you miss it? We were there. And every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. we have the weekly Dharma gathering where we learn to quiet our minds down and maybe even be a little more pleasant to other people, right? And stop going after them for fake crimes just to advance your own political agenda, your own career, right? Climbing that ladder. Alvin Bragg, his big black fat ass climbing up the ladder. Get out of my way! Get out of my way! I'm going after Trump. I'm going to go after Trump, and I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. Right? And see, this is also pay for play in the sense that Alvin Bragg runs on a platform, I'll go after Trump. And then there's billionaires that want to see Trump not get elected, obviously, because he threatens the business cycle as they would like it to be. So they pump a lot of money into Alvin Bragg. Yeah, get Alvin Bragg, and then he'll go after Trump. And then once Alvin Bragg is elected, they hold him to it. They say, well, you promised you're going to go after Trump. Now, what the fuck? Go after him. And now he's delivering. Alvin Bragg is delivering on his campaign promise that was funded by the billionaire class. Right? Why don't you call that a crime? Why isn't it a crime to bribe politicians to get a service? Right? In this case, the service is we give you money and you weaponize the criminal justice system against Trump, right? And then maybe we'll give you more money so you can get reelected. These are paid political hacks, right? So let's start here.
That courtroom, Scott, tell us what you've been seeing.
Mm-hmm. Donald Trump has just pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree.
Yep.
He's seated at the defense table, surrounded by 3 defense attorneys, wearing his suit and his red tie, spoke in a pretty loud voice when he said not guilty as the clerk of Judge Juan Marchon read the top line. 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. This is ongoing as we speak, Nora, but we have this development from the courtroom. This arraignment began moments ago, took very little time to get to the plea from the 45th president of the United States.
It's all very real.
I want to bring in Scott McFarland. We mentioned we have reporters who have been witnessing what's happening inside that courtroom. Yep. Scott, tell us what you've been seeing.
So there you go. It's very real. This is not fiction in the sense that Trump was required to show up at court and mugshotted and fingerprinted and walked into the court with police with guns behind him as the judge read the indictment and I guess the sentence. And you got to ask yourself also, if someone's charged with 34 felonies, right, how come he's not being held? How come he's 34-time felon? Right? What if it was he killed 34 people? Right? But felony is as a felony is, right? 34 felonies, and Trump, he wasn't even in court for an hour. I asked AI. I said, well, Donald Trump, I don't know if AI likes Trump, the ChatGPT likes Trump, but I'm sure it's programmed to not like him. But I asked Donald Trump, I asked the AI, give me the top 10 most well-received by the American people achievements Donald Trump accomplished as U.S. president. So I said, and it gave me some of them. Number 1, Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, 2017. You remember that one? I remember it. Economic growth. Trump often highlighted the strong performance of the stock market and overall economic growth, including low unemployment rates. All true. Criminal justice reform. Trump signed into law the First Step Act, which aimed to reduce the number of people in federal prisons. Appointment of conservative judges, well, that could be perceived as, to him it is an accomplishment, and to many Americans that is an accomplishment as well. I would just argue, I would dispute the term conservative, because that doesn't really apply anymore. Trump appointed judges to federal courts, 3 of them. Right? Trump is wholly responsible for appointing 3 Supreme Court justices for the United States of America. So for those picks to have been confirmed by the Senate, that would tell you that Trump has very, very, very good judgment. He put up 3 picks, and all of them got confirmed. How many did Obama put up? 1. And how many did Obama get appointed? 0. So Biden got one. Biden got one because she was a black female. I'm going to appoint a justice. Trump gave you judges based on the merit of their performance, and Joe Biden gave you a Supreme Court justice based on solely, initially solely on the color of her skin, black, female. That was the two criteria Joe Biden used to pick a Supreme Court justice, whereas Trump did other things. What else did Trump do? Deregulation. People love that. Trade deals. He squashed the deal with Mexico and Canada, and gave us another one. Space policy. Trump created the Space Force. Trump created his own branch of military, right? While he was in there. Space. Did we forget? Veterans affairs. Many opportunities for veterans. Middle East peace. Negotiated peace deals between Israel and Arab nations. Border security. These are all Trump's positives, and there's many more too. He also created, in my opinion, he created a sense of what it means to be America again. Make America great again. It was a very powerful message, and it got him elected. Let's make whatever it means to you. To some people, it was defined as going back to some historical white supremacist racist time in American history, which upon further investigation, that's not what Trump was talking about or is talking about at all. He's talking more about dignity and family, and it's okay to be yourself. Trump is a rock star. Trump is a dreamer. Trump is a wannabe wrestler. He was in the ring with Mike Tyson and Michael Spinks when Tyson almost took his head off, right, in the casino business. So Trump has many victories that you're not going to hear about at all anymore. You would have heard a lot about them if Trump would have walked off into the pasture silently after he was defeated in 2020 and said, "Oh, I'm done with politics," just like Ivanka and some other people in his circle. The ones that didn't get thrown in jail, like Steve Bannon and such. But if Trump would have walked away peacefully, and I've conspiratalized about this, he wouldn't have been in this situation. The government wouldn't go after Trump, a former sitting president. They would glorify his achievements and let him be glorious. I put him on the talk show, circuit and such. But now that Trump is jeopardizing their power, this is what you get. 34 counts, falsifying business records in the first degree. 2, falsifying business records in the first degree. 3, falsifying business records in the first degree. All the same. We never find out exactly what they are. Defendant on February 14, 2017, with the intent to defraud and intend to commit another crime and aid the conceal and commission thereof. None of it makes sense when you read through it. They're talking about who signed what check. This is already settled law. Michael Cohen was the fall guy in this thing. They got their guy, and now the guy they got is the key witness to get Trump. Now the lawyer, all of a sudden the lawyer is I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't think Michael Cohen, the number one witness in this case, has any merit whatsoever. They've already vilified the guy. The Democrats tore this guy to pieces, and now they're going to rely on him to give credible testimony. It's not going to happen. And the other obvious elephant in the room in this whole debacle is that a former sitting president of the United States, Donald Trump, probably the most famous man in the world, cannot cannot get a fair trial in the United States of America. That would be impossible. Everybody knows him. Everybody has an opinion of him. Right? And it's, that's just the way it is. These political positions like this go to the heart of who people are. And that's not going to change. People don't change like that. They deeply hate fucking Trump, or they deeply love Trump, and anything Trump does is going to be, you only need one juror to stonewall the whole thing. If Trump even gets one supporter on the jury, it's locked. But the point is that the system, it's hard to, I mean, should everybody be held to the same standard? Yeah, I guess so. But how do you give a fair shake to a guy who is so famous, right? So let's look at what the New York Post said. Here's another shot of Trump walking through the door, no sound. And Trump is good with the face. He knows that the camera is going to be on him for these 30 seconds. He gives it a good stern look. And there he is walking into what part? Part 59 across from part 95, if you guys like numbers. Trump is in it looks like part 59 of the criminal justice. And this is what the Post say. Now that we have seen what District Attorney Alvin Bragg has said, is that all there is? ? Yes, that's all there is. The charges against Donald Trump are almost exactly as predicted. They are weak and, most important, political, says the New York Post. They are shockingly blatant punishment for Trump daring to be president. In this sordid case, the letters DA stand for Democratic Attorney. Yes. The charges are the crime. The charges are the crime. Shame on Bragg for abusing his authority and turning his office into a partisan outpost. So we're right. New York Post is right, in my view. The culprit, the fall guy, the political patsy is clearly Alvin Bragg. And he's going to be used like a crooked referee to constantly hover over Trump for the next 2 years as Trump runs for president. And every time he gets momentum, they're going to try to push this case out in front of his momentum and get him to show up in court. They're going to keep doing that, right? Because by all standards, since Trump has been indicted on a felony, the court technically has power over him. They could remand him to jail. A judge would have to do that, but Bragg is the cheerleader. He's pushing for it in conjunction with a soft judge. So that's where the interference is going to be. His case is a pig this case is a pig, and all the lipstick in the world can't make it beautiful or even plausible. Manhattan is a 24-hour crime scene where innocent citizens and visitors are assaulted, raped, robbed, and killed. But the city's most famous and arguably most important law enforcement officer, Alvin Bragg, has been focused on weaving a fantasy. This is the definition of conspiracy theory. You accuse somebody of wild theories about, impropriety in these very mundane, back-end electioneering situations where there are buffers of lawyers and lots of money flying back and forth and money coming in and money going out. The bigger question is, if Trump gave $130,000 or whatever it was to Stormy Daniels for hush money, and somehow the bookkeeping wasn't correct, that's really all we're talking about. Why don't you ask the people who gave Trump the money, the votership? Turn to the cameras and let Trump do it. Does anybody care that Trump paid $130,000 to shut up some porn star? Do people really care about that? Do they see it as money well spent? Probably. I think most people that gave $10 or $20 to Trump are not disappointed in the way the money was spent. So that's most important too. Why does the district attorney care so much about it? Right? Am I watering down crimes in elections? I don't think so. There's far more blisteringly obvious forms of election interference that we could be talking about. For example, felony, knocking 200,000 voters, for example, in New York, in the state of New York, silencing, purging, that's the word I'm looking for, purging 200,000 voters in the Democratic primary in 2016, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders. 200,000 new voters were purged from the rolls in New York. Guy's name is Mark Ryan. He was the head of elections. He committed felony interference for doing that. And what was the sentence? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That guy, in direct interference in an election, right? Bernie Sanders would have won. With those 200,000 votes, Bernie Sanders would have been declared, and a lack of cheating in Manhattan. You notice in New York, all of Upper New York, New York State, all votes for Trump, all voted for Trump. But down there in the city, they all voted for Hillary Clinton. That's a fantasy. That's not how it works. All right. So, but anyway, I forgot what I was saying. But there you go, man. This is real. Real deal here. What else we got? Here's some. Alvin Bragg was here. Well, let's take a stroll down memory lane. Less than 2 years ago, 12,000 views. Hot 97 had Mr. Alvin Bragg on the show, talking to him about how he's going to go after Trump once elected. Here's the campaigner nobody, Alvin Bragg, right, filling up his pockets with money to go after Trump. Give me money and I'll go after Trump.
There's things that I believe he hasn't done well. But one of the things leading into this vote for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, I know a lot of people are wondering, whoever has this job, are they going to convict Donald Trump?
Look, that is the number one issue. We know he's investigating. And what I'll say is I was the first to announce against Cy Vance. I, too, have a lot of issues, which is why I decided to run. I'm the candidate in the race who has the experience with Donald Trump. I was the chief deputy in the Attorney General's office. We sued the Trump administration over 100 times for the Muslim travel ban.
So if you wanted to spin a conspiracy, it is an easy one. Alvin Bragg ran on a platform of, I will go after Donald Trump. I will go after him, right? That is precisely the type of people that guys like George Soros and maybe even Jamie Dimon and Bill Gates love. We could pay this guy, Alvin Bragg. We could put money in his campaign, right, with our name on it. We can funnel money and power into Alvin Bragg so he beats his opponent, Cy Vance. And now we own him. We own him because he didn't win because of the people. He won because we dumped a lot of money into his campaign and got him elected. And now we're getting our favor. Right? Is that a theory? No, that's precisely what's happening. In his own words, I will go after Trump. Look at the smile on his face.
And for family separation at the border, for shenanigans with the census. So I know how to litigate with him. I also led the team that did the Trump Foundation case. So I'm ready to go wherever the facts take me and to inherit that case. And I think, it'd be hard to argue with the fact that that'd be the most important, most high profile case. And I've seen him up front and seen the lawlessness that he can do.
So there he is. There he is. He's saying, I'm going to make the most high profile case ever against Donald Trump. That was his campaign speech. That was the thing that got him elected. Right? You can't make it up. Right? There it is. There's the evidence.
And you believe it should happen?
I believe we have to hold him accountable. I haven't seen all the facts beyond the public, but I've litigated with him, and so I'm prepared to go where the facts take me once I see them and hold him accountable.
Where the facts take him. Okay.
Where do you fit in as the Manhattan District Attorney versus on the federal level the attorney for the Southern District of New York? How do you guys who does what?
Exactly. So I was in that office. I was in the public corruption unit in the Southern District of New York. So there is sometimes working together. Oftentimes the same case could be brought as a federal matter or as a state matter. I'll give you
this guy. He's so excited. Do you see what's happening? Can you just open your eyes for 1 second and slow down what's happening? You have a man who arguably he's probably very smart. He pushes all the right buttons. He kisses all the right ass to get where he wants to go. He's very cunning in the way he's working the system to get himself elected. But the core of why he's being elected is to go after Trump. That's why he's there, right? And that is his principal motivation. And, surprisingly, that's acceptable to millions and millions of people, that the criminal justice system is there to stop guys like Trump, who is why? Because he threatens the power of certain people. It is quite bizarre, but this is the product. Alvin Bragg is the product of deep corruption in government, where it's normalized. Alvin Bragg is normalizing, going after a former president for fantasy charges, things that nobody in American history has ever been, no American president has ever been tried for third party signing of checks during an election. It's ridiculous. Right?
Give an example. I did the case that led to the conviction of Malcolm Smith, who was the Senate Majority Leader for bribery. That could have been a state case. It's just that we were basically in the Southern District. We've been in the lead. We were using our resources and focusing on people using power and abusing power. And if I were Manhattan District Attorney,
what is using power is legal. What is abusing power? We still don't know how Trump abused power. He didn't abuse power. He didn't abuse power.
I would be focused.
So that's his testimony. Let's listen to him now that 2 years later. Let's see what he got. Here he is. He's so excited. I got my man.
Was arraigned on a New York Supreme Court.
And now let's hear from the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg.
Here today. Earlier this afternoon, Donald Trump was arraigned on a New York Supreme Court indictment returned by a Manhattan grand jury on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime. That is exactly what this case is about. 34 false statements made to cover up other crimes. These are felony crimes in New York State, no matter who.
What kind of false statements? Why don't you just say them? Why didn't you pencil them into the indictment? Right? No. We don't have to do that. We don't have to legally say what Trump did. All we have to do is say it in front of the grand jury, and then you'll figure it out when we get to court. It's trial by ambush. That's the idea. try to ambush Trump. This is a political case. It'll never go to trial. There'll never be a trial.
We cannot and will not normalize serious criminal conduct. The defendant repeatedly made false statements on New York business records. He also caused others to make false statements. The defendant claimed that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services.
That's all conspiracy theory. That's all conspiracy. There's no evidence or proof of any of that, other than the testimony of Michael Cohen, who already said, I did everything. He's already in jail. I did it.
In 2017. This simply was not true. And it was a false statement that the defendant made month after month in 2017.
See, this is a big career move for Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg right now, he's feeling good about himself. Alvin Bragg is now the rock star of New York. He's the darling of the Democratic Party. He's got Trump by the balls. Whatever Alvin Bragg says in New York, Trump will have to do, and the money will flow into Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg is not a legal rock star, but will be looked at in history as a patsy, somebody who enriched himself on the back of a politician in a race for the presidency. That's precisely what he is. He's a political patsy. I don't know. He's playing in dangerous waters. He better stick to his guns, because if he doesn't, they'll throw this guy under the bus faster than, fucking anybody. They'll throw him right under the bus with Donald Trump if they have to. And they is the money. Whenever I say they, I'm talking about the money. Right? Without the money pouring into guys like Alvin Bragg, there is no Alvin Bragg. The money decides, and the money right now likes Alvin Bragg.
April, May, June, and so on through the rest of the year. For 9 straight months, the defendant held documents in his hand containing this key lie. Okay,
so it's all bullshit. We don't know what it is. Here's Trump's response. So right after that happened yesterday in the afternoon, and then Trump went live, looks like about 9 p.m. last night, and here he is.
Thank you very much, everybody. We have to save our country. God bless you all. God bless you all. And I never thought anything like this could happen in America. Never thought it could happen. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it.
Mm-hmm. Listen
from
to the
the
crowd.
beginning, the Democrats spied on my campaign. Remember that? They attacked me with an onslaught of fraudulent investigations.
Mm-hmm.
Russia, Russia, Russia.
Yep.
Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine.
Yep.
Impeachment hoax number 1. Impeachment hoax number 2. The illegal and unconstitutional raid on Mar-a-Lago right here.
That's a lot of shit they threw at Trump. Do you hear all that? They raided his house, fucking 2 impeachments. A lot of shit they piled on this guy's head. He's still trucking.
They're lying to the FISA courts,
yep.
The FBI and DOJ, relentlessly pursuing Republicans.
Yep.
The unconstitutional changes to election laws by not getting approvals from state legislators.
Changing the election laws, right? That's one of the first presidents in America to say that, right? Although Trump didn't arguably do anything about the election, he didn't refine the election system in America, but he was he certainly wasn't the first, but he was the most vocal to tell the American people that the system is clearly rigged, and this is how they're doing it. And people listened to what he was saying, and that's why they can't stand him, because, again, it costs a lot of money to run a senator, millions of dollars. To run a congressman, millions of dollars. to keep, and people like Alvin Bragg, millions of dollars, all of these plants that are all over the country. A guy like Trump, he jeopardizes that, right? He jeopardizes that whole system of accountability by saying they're getting elected in nefarious ways. Why don't they just address the people and let the people decide? And that's precisely what Trump is. Trump turns to the people like he's doing right now, right? And he can't be controlled. The people are controlling Trump. Trump is a rock star. You got to view him as rock star, as superhero. Right? He flies around on his big jet. He's above the world. He's the savior. Right? Trump is the, in some respects he's the super villain, but he's absolutely inescapably a superhero.
The millions of votes illegally stuffed into ballot boxes and all caught on government cameras.
Yep.
And just recently, the FBI and DOJ.
What about canceling the exit polls? Canceling exit polls. In most countries, we have exit polls. We used to have them in this country, and they would reveal almost in real time who people are voting for, with a less than 2% degree of inaccuracy. Right? Exit polls work. Right, and when people like Trump and before that Bernie Sanders ran, they canceled the exit polls so nobody could see who voted for what. We didn't know. Oh, what? Well, now why? Why did it all of a sudden take 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 5 weeks to count ballots? That's something new in American history. Elections used to be called that night. Oh yeah, Trump won. Oh yeah, Obama. That night, everybody would be cheering in the streets. Not anymore. Now it takes weeks, months. So it's a fucked up system.
DOJ in collusion with Twitter and Facebook in order not to say anything bad about the Hunter Biden laptop from hell, which exposes the Biden family as criminals and which, according to the pollsters, would have made a 17-point difference in the election result.
There's a lot of truth to that. The government squelched the Hunter Biden laptop evidence that was real, that was provided by the New York Post and, initially Rudy Giuliani. And what we saw there was quid pro quo. Is Trump accurate in saying that the suppression of that information could have swung an election? Yeah, it's part of it. It's not one single thing. When you say, well, the election is rigged against Trump, the establishment will say, well, where? Well, you're criminalizing a criminal justice system against a man who is innocent, right? This, you know what I mean? So that's there lies the interference, obviously.
And we needed a lot less than that, like about 16.9. It would have been in our favor, not my favor, our favor, because our country is going to hell.
We're going to hell.
And we remember the 51 intelligence agents who said Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation.
Yep, they did say that.
It didn't exist. It was Russian disinformation.
Remember He's right. That? I remember.
And that was all confirmed strongly by the FBI.
Yep.
When they all knew that it wasn't Russian disinformation.
No, it's all real.
And so much more. Our elections were like those of a third world country. And now this massive election interference at a scale never seen before in our country.
Right there.
It didn't exist. It was Russian disinformation. Remember that?
I do.
And that was all confirmed strongly by the FBI when they all knew that it wasn't Russian disinformation. And so much more. Our elections were like those of a third world country. And now this massive election...
Our elections are like that of a third world country. This is the former president of the United States saying it.
Interference at a scale never seen before in our
election interference at a scale never seen before. That's Trump's That's Trump's campaign direction, right? You created Trump. You created the monster.
Beginning with the radical left, George Soros-backed prosecutor Alvin Bragg of New York, who campaigned on the fact that he would get President Trump. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. This is the guy campaigning. He wanted to get President Trump at any cost, and this before he knew anything about me, didn't know a thing about me. He was campaigning. As it turns out, virtually everybody that has looked at this case, including rhinos and even hardcore Democrats, say there is no crime.
No.
And that it should never have been brought. Never have been brought. Everybody. Even people that aren't big fans have said it. They said this is not the right thing to do. It's an insult to our country, as the world is already laughing at us for so many other reasons, like our open borders, our incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan, where we left behind American citizens.
I got to tell you, Trump is sharp as a tack right now. Trump is not. Trump is showing no surrender, no retreat, no surrender. Donald Trump, he's sharp, 74 years old. He's ready. Trump is ready, Freddy, to win.
$85 billion worth of the best military equipment in the world. Lost 13 magnificent young lives, and far too many to mention that are so badly hurt with the loss of arms and legs and facial obliteration. The most embarrassing time in our country's history.
Trump has a deep, sincere, heartfelt side to him, right? I don't know who his chief advisors are anymore, but I would say that Trump is kind of like Jay Leno. He doesn't really have an agent per se. Trump has his finger. He watches a lot of TV. He's that's what he does, and he listens to people, and he's out there in the public. So, still wildly popular human being.
My opinion. Then our give up on energy independence and even energy dominant. We're going to be dominant within 6 months, more than any other nation, times 2.
So there's Trump. You can watch the rest of it. It's all over social media right now. And, there you go. I don't know what to make of it. Well, let's look at the market. Let's see what the markets are doing. How's the market like Trump being indicted? Ding, boom, bang. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 130. NASDAQ down 79. Come on, man. 73. S&P 500 flat right now. The mighty Apple down $1. Amazon down $1. Google up 6 cents. Meta down 82 cents. Microsoft down. A lot of green, a lot of red in technology right now. However, the Dow is green, up 129. So we'll take it. Mixed open. We'll see how it pans out. Looks like the beginnings of a smallish bull market. Equities are rising at this point with the expectation that the Federal Reserve will have stopped and or paused jacking up interest rates for just a little while they sort out the banking collapse and debacle. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Again, unprecedented times. Trump is clearly in center stage again. He is putting his money where his mouth is. He is taking on the system by running for president again, trying to regain power, and you're seeing the pushback. All right? You're seeing the pushback. If I don't know. So there you go, man. It's crazy times we live in. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. And take care of yourself. Don't forget to do that. Beautiful weather. Enjoy the weather. Don't forget to look outside and enjoy the weather. It's beautiful. Right now, it's 70 degrees, 70 sunny degrees yesterday. Beautiful. It's all good. We're going to be okay. We're going to make it. We're going to make it, Trump people. We're going to make it. Trump America, we're going to make it. Everything is going to be okay. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the man behind that curtain. Peace. Love.